Okay, there. It's starting to record now. This will be behind the scene exclusive content that they pay for, like, what is it? The Patreon?
I don't know what that is.
It's like a website that is basically a members only access to where you can get exclusive content.
So, what is it that you want to talk about today?
Well, just whatever you would like to pour out from your heart.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining back. I really appreciate your time. Here I am again. I'm Caro, and this is podcast 2 with my special guest, the hubby, because I'm not famous, so he's the only one that agreed to join. Hi, hubby.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. Even though, well, no, actually, Oliver the baby, he did sleep a lot better tonight or last night than the night before. The night before, he got up 7 times.
So, thank you for mentioning that. That was actually the topic that I wanted to talk today.
Are you sure? Because a couple of minutes ago, you were saying, what do you want to talk about? Because I have nothing to talk about.
So, no, I realized that one of the things that I could talk to you about would be like the sleeping situation with the toddler and all that comes with it. Because you are the father and then you have to, endure the waking up at night and everything. So you can relate to the topic. So yes, welcome back again. Today with the dear hubby, we're going to talk about sleep regression, and everything sleep with babies and how we navigate that situation. How about that?
Yeah, spoiler alert. It's terrible.
Yes, it is. So life with a baby, like this is part of the motherhood situation, parenting. One of the biggest things I think one has to go through is all the sleepless nights and all that terrible. It's just like awful. Right now, our son is 3 years old and things get a little bit better. And he was actually doing a little bit better. So I think what we're going to do is go like timeline from 3 years old going back to newborn so that we can remember there's stuff that we're probably going to forget about the early days. And that is part of the brain that kind of erases the bad thing. So to trick you to have another one.
So I guess we could start right now with, so Oliver, he is starting to skip his naps. So, like the past couple of days, he's been like, no nap, más tarde. He wants to do it later. Or mañana, I don't want to do a nap, no siesta.
Yes, I still want to nap though.
Yeah, mama wants a nap, but baby doesn't want a nap.
Yes. And I think if I put him to bed, we're going to try that tomorrow. He will fall asleep, but he is already in a good position or situation where he can skip his nap and be happy about it, not as needy as he was before when I was kind of trying, not because I really wanted to, but because I was trying and see, kind of playing with his schedule.
Yeah, definitely can see, so there's some pros and cons with that. So no nap. So mama doesn't get a nap during the day, but also
time off. It's not just nap, but time off.
Yeah, to decompose or detox. That's what you said. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Nah, you didn't say detox. You meant decompose. I know what you meant. But so if he doesn't take his nap, he gets to go to bed early. So tonight we put him to bed at 7 o'clock, which is really early. I think so at least. And so 7 o'clock until whatever time you decide to go to bed with no baby, no toddler. That's a pretty big relief. So what would you prefer? If we don't put him down for a nap, if we do put him down for a nap, so that obviously pushes his bedtime later, just 1 hour. No,
that's what I do.
Okay, so he takes a 2-hour nap, but then it only extends his bedtime only 1 hour.
And And this is the part where I do read about it. I don't know if you, as a dad, has heard, maybe because you heard me about the wake up windows, the,
Yes, you preach that to me all the time because you say you're like so adamant and you're telling me, no, he has to wake up at 3. It cannot be 3:05 or he gets sleep apnea and he stays up for 5 days in a row.
yeah. So when you have a baby, there are many new words that you learn or terms such as wake up windows, sleep regression. I think that is the scariest one of all. Um, and then nap times, sleeping schedules, things that you didn't consider before. Because truly, I don't know if this was your case, but one truly thought that the baby was sleeping the whole time, like when they were little. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, now that you say that, I always pictured and thought that kids and little babies, all they do is sleep. Of course, that's the case, like whenever they're newborns. But I always thought that that sleeping pattern or sleeping schedule that lasted a lot longer than maybe like 3 months or 6 months. Looking back, it all just seems like a blur. And it's hard to kind of sometimes remember because we've only done it one time and we were sleep deprived all that time. So it screws up with our brain and our memory. So we truly can't remember. I
Yeah.
remember you telling me one time that that is the reason why um, sometimes parents want to have more kids is because they were sleep deprived the whole time and they don't have good memories. Basically, it's like mini memory loss and they can't remember exactly what it is that they went through. They don't remember the torture that they went through. So they're like, oh, yeah, this was great. We can do it again. Now that it's easy, looking back, it's like, oh, yeah, we can do it again.
Yeah, well, there is another thing besides that I read is that the brain really erases kind of the bad things and just leaves the
The good
good things.
memories. Now, is that just in general or is that enhanced because of sleep
I'm not
deprivation?
I'm going to say that that really affects, but it is kind of the movie Inside Out, like the memories, like, oh, and I saw a meme about it. Of course, I saw a meme. It was like, um, the memory of you, the sleepless night. Let's erase that. Oh, the memory of how the baby sleeps. We'll do that. And then you just remember, oh, the baby smell. Yeah, I want to do that again. Because you forget about the bad thing. So yes, definitely that truly affects your memory the way you remember. Even you were saying that it's a blur. And then you go back to, let's have another one because you truly forgot about how awful it was.
Yeah, but that's true. I mean, it's kind of weird too. I mean, not even just with babies or, raising children, how that works just in general, just because I remember I remember in high school whenever I would like date a girl and it was like I couldn't stand the girl and like if we broke up or whatever, a couple of months went by, maybe a year went by, and then I was like thinking about that girl and I was like, it wasn't that bad. And then I would hang out with her for a day and then immediately I was reminded as to why we ended the relationship because of how much we didn't get along.
I guess it's exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly the same situation. But yes, I guess that kind of applies. It's just like that. So all the sleep situation with babies is kind of, you know, bunch to say about it as they get older and they are not napping at what you're saying. He's 3 years old and he's just trying to get that nap out of his system.
Yeah.
I've known other kids that they stopped their naps way earlier, and I truly don't know how moms do that. At least stay home moms, because whenever they go to daycare, of course they have the mom has time to decompose, and then, and then the baby has other kind of activities that they are engaged in, releasing energy and all that stuff.
Not only that, but I know like this one couple, another Colombian couple who shall not be named. and then also too, some other people, they let their child wake up super, super early. So if they wake up at like 5, they let their kids naturally wake up. Sometimes the kids wake up at 5:45, 6. They just let them wake up. But you are pretty strict as to like, no, if you're waking up, you're staying in your room and you're not coming out. And I mean, if you just want to sit there and blow spit bubbles and stare at the ceiling fan, go right ahead, but you're not coming out.
And yes, I know this couple that is American. How is it that you say that are not
Gringo.
shall be named?
They shall not be named.
And that they will just like lock their kids in the room and don't let them come out because it was not time. Yeah, that happens too.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. So yes, to give a little bit of information about the topic, there is a bunch of terms that are actually really important while you're raising a child. That is sleep schedule, wake up windows, and all that stuff. So I am very strict because I do not want to wake up at 5. I mean, what is it that you're going to do at 5 a.m. in the morning? Nothing. Watch what? The worms. I mean, I have no idea because we don't wake up at 5. I have no idea what to do at that time. So you just stay in bed. But the thing is that the one thing that we did that I did with Oliver was like start with the nap schedule. When they're babies, they kind of sleep randomly because that is what they were doing in the belly. They were just sleeping when they felt like and waking up at whatever time because, I mean, who cared? If they woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning, sometimes he will wake me up. But in general, they're right there and the cry, I'm not going to be able to listen to that. But then you have to start kind of training them to, oh, this is daytime and nighttime. And that is where it gets a little bit tricky. With our weather situation, with longer days or shorter days, when it is longer days, they think truly that there's light. Oh, we are going to, it's time to go chase butterflies.
Well, you're talking about during the summer, we have longer days, and then in winter, we have a lot shorter days, but whereas Colombia, where you're from, closer to the equator, so the days are the exact same length every single day.
Yeah. So it is important, for me, it's very important to have like a routine. I have read multiple times that babies thrive with routines, that it's good for them to know what is coming so that they can anticipate. You're training them.
Yeah.
So whenever they know, oh, we're taking a bath, we're reading a book, they can anticipate, oh, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Whenever you put the noisemaker, they know it's a cue. We're going to nap. Whenever, we slow down. So all those things help you to have, a structured life. I am not that, free spirit butterfly, that let's see where the wind is blowing. No, the wind blows very similar every day at the same time. Let's blow, focused.
Well, so just to reinforce that, I've also heard psychiatrists say that also helps reinforce within the child all those routines, like giving those cues like, oh, this is bedtime because the noisemaker's going on, all those different things. It helps give them a sense of security and knowing that they have a safe, consistent environment. So that's also something to take in consideration as well, that's a benefit of your strict and rigid schedule.
I didn't know that, but that is very interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'm more sure that I'm going to keep.
Now you know you're more sure that you're right.
Correct. I knew it before.
Yeah, you had no doubts before, but
thank you for letting me know what I already know.
Now you know it's written in the Constitution.
Now I know that you know that I know that we know. So yes, I think that routines are really good. Wake up windows was the other thing. It changes according to their age.
Mm.
What you were mentioning about him not taking a nap is that their wake up windows are longer, meaning they can stay awake happily longer. during the day.
Not fussy.
Not fussy because they don't need that time to reset or decompose as how we just, you know, got that term internally in our lives today. So yes, it is, they need it to be able to continue their day happily, to grow. Babies grow when they're sleeping. So you need to give them that time for them to rest. As they grow older, they have other needs. So at this age, he's stopping his naps. Now, I do know that there are other kids that they can nap consistently up until they're 5 years old. So it all depends on the child. And this is something you don't know. I mean, I was doing my research about his nap like a week ago, and I was reading this comment of this woman, envious, by the way, that she was just saying that her 3-year-old, exactly the same age of our son, he goes to bed at 8 and wakes up at 9 in the morning. And then that baby naps 2 hours a day. And I'm like, say what? Our son, like that time, another term important is that what is the sleep time for a child during a 24-hour period.
Okay.
So it says that at this age, it's supposed to be around 10 to 12, 13 hours. Our son goes 10, exactly 10.
Yeah,
The shorter, then that's the one that I'm going to take. Why don't you take the longest? He's never been like that. But I do know other babies, other kids that are on the longer side of the sleeping time they have.
So, Oliver is like a real feisty,
very active,
extremely active. I want to say he's not a wild child, but he would be. He would be prone to be a wild child if he didn't have such a routine oriented mother. Then I wonder though if it's like really personality wise. Like let's say for example his cousin who's around the same age, very relaxed, very melancholy, like
he sleeps a lot.
He does.
He sleeps.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Like I wonder if that's really what it is. Like your energy level, your activity level. Like because Oliver, he is just like off the chain. He's like, let's play football, and then immediately once you're done, he throws away the soccer goal, and then he says, let's play basketball, and then you throw the basketball.
It all depends on the child.
And then he goes and grabs his baseball and glove. So he's just like always wanting to do stuff.
So yes, that is another thing to take in consideration. Every child is different. They all have different needs. And that is the reason all these guides exist and gives you like a range. They should be sleeping between 10 to 12 or 13 hours when they are 3 years old. They should be napping during the day 5 hours when they're, 6 months old. I'm making that up because I don't remember the chart.
Yeah, okay. So you said that we were going to start with him being 3 years old and we're going to work backwards. We're still in the 3-year-old mark. Okay. So like, what's next? After he potentially drops his nap, which it seems like he's kind of on that trend of dropping off his nap, like what is that previous step before that?
Okay, I thought we were going forward and the forward would be like... What before that?
Is that you, or is that
that's me suffering because he's awake?
So that's the repercussions of the mama.
Yeah.
You're reenacting future mama.
He's in the on the track of stopping
his nap. Yeah, because you said we're going to start at 3 and work our way backwards.
Okay, so going back, they have just 1 hour, 1 nap during the day. Of course, because they start dropping naps.
That's right. I totally forgot about the multiple naps.
Yes. So that is the thing. They start dropping naps. And
may I just interject for a second and say, which I was talking to you earlier about this, which I've actually said this multiple times here recently, is that it feels like our life has gotten so much easier with Oliver because we have recently got him potty trained and it has been a game changer. I mean, He's going peeing on his own. He's pooping on his own. And it's amazing. Like he has his little toilet. We have him a little baby urinal that we put right beside our toilet. And it's just like, it's great. I mean, he's extremely independent for the most part. And it's just been like, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off of
But
our shoulders.
that would be another show.
Yeah, well,
Of the potty training, because I feel that is a
Yeah.
whole topic itself, maybe several. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, we're just talking about life.
well, just to give a little
parenthood and
insight,
stuff, but yeah,
to give a little insight, it's just because so we didn't do disposable during the day disposable diapers. We did the cloth diapers, like the Noah nursery cloth diapers, but we did do disposable at night, and yeah, just at night, like overnight.
yeah.
And so since he's potty trained, we haven't looked back, and we're not having to wash the cloth diapers every 2 days anymore. We're not having to.
3 days.
Oh, okay, 3 days. Not having to. It's just been great because that's like a pretty big burden is having to wash those,
Yeah. Yes, it is. So
clean out the poopy diaper. Like it's just like spray them down.
yeah, it's a whole thing. Like I was saying, I think it's a whole show. But
Sorry for
okay,
derailing. Let's go back.
let's go back to the sleeping thing and him being a little bit more independent. Yes, going back then we have one nap. And that is when you or I was paying attention to the wake up windows so that he's not sleeping way too late. And I think every toddler mom knows that if they nap, let's say 5 p.m., it's chaos. Like if they did a nap at their time, just keep them away and know that the afternoon it's going to be crazy.
Miserable. Yeah.
It's going to be crazy because you're going to have a cranky baby that is really, really tired, but you cannot let that baby fall asleep because if they fall asleep at 5, then they're going to go to bed at 11, 10, who knows what time, because they're going to have all this energy and you really want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Once again, because you have to check those wake up windows. They can be awake after the nap between 5-6 hours. So if they go to nap at 5, or let's say 4:30 to 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, potentially 11 for them to go to bed. That is the wake up window. That is the reason most parents that follow wake up window guidelines and all this stuff, they try to put their toddler to sleep anywhere between 12 to 3. That is the time they should be asleep. And it starts with a long nap. Whenever they drop to one nap, they can sleep 2-3 hours, and then you start making that shorter to 2 hours. And the ideal would be 1.5 hours so that they can go to bed early. Now, that is if you have obviously checking on your baby. If your child is a sleeper or not a sleeper, then you know they need a longer time or a shorter time. In our case, Oliver doesn't sleep that much, so I was trying to the shorter nap, so that because he has a shorter sleep at night, so keep it short so that at least most of the sleep would go at night. That is the goal.
I'm learning so much.
Imagine. It's going to be my saying all the time if I'm like with the special guest, the hubby. So yes, so they have that one nap. And obviously before that, they have 2 naps. And before that, 3 naps. And before that, there are newborns and they sleep on and off all day. And that is when they're like newborns, the one thing that I started doing, and I did it at 3 months because I was like, it was so little, I felt so bad, was like trying to make sure that at the 2-hour mark, I would wake the baby up. So he would nap several times a day, but the naps were 2 hours long. And then, wake him up, play a little bit, feed him, change him, and put him back to bed.
Yeah.
But that is how kids do. Then, yes, there are some families, going back to toddlerhood, that they let their kids wake up at 5 I mean, they just get up. I have no idea what is it that they do at that time, and or that they let them go to bed super late. I have no idea how you manage to stay awake that long. I mean,
Like, what's super late though? I mean,
for me, 11.
yeah, I mean, I feel like, no, it's not. I feel like we do go to bed early comparatively to the typical family.
Yeah. So, side story. One time we went out to run a late errand. Late errand. I think it was
8:30.
like 8:30,
8:30.
and there was a bunch of people. It was like, I think, a Friday night. We didn't have our son, and we went out, and then we saw these cars and things happening, and we're like, what is happening?
Oh,
There's people awake at this time, and then we like, oh, it's just 8.
we were downtown, and like it was really they're having like some kind of festival, but it was like a thing that but apparently they do it every Friday, Saturday night
at 8.
Yeah, no, and it was just so weird because we've never been a part of it or even knew that there was like a night scene.
We didn't know people would say.
Yeah, we were confused why they were still outside.
Yeah, at 8. It's like, what? Are people still awake? What is going on? Yeah, so people apparently go out late at 8. But yes, people do that. People stay awake till 11. I think that is the normal. But for me, it's like, oh my gosh. Even before having him, I still have my phone with an alarm that rings at 7:30 p.m. that reminds me that it's time to go to bed. Because it's late. Said, hey, people, we should go to bed. I'm exhausted. Give me a break.
It's time to decompose.
It's time to decompose. I'm going to say that is usually what dads do every day, like 40 minutes in the bathroom. They decompose. That is the exact definition. We, the moms, we do not decompose. Dads do. That's what you guys do. We decompress. You guys decompose. Let's set the record straight. Let's set the record straight. Okay, so where were we? I'm glad we have this sense rate. So going back to the sleeping situation so that we can, give a little bit of our wisdom or my wisdom, because apparently my one is just realizing they're all this time. Yeah, wake up windows, huge, part of the mom vocabulary. Sleep regression. How about that? Let's talk about that.
I know that word.
Yeah, we all do. So sleep regressions too. If you are listening to this podcast for some crazy reason and you do not have kids and you're planning, there is a very scary word that is called sleep regression. And that means that you think that they already know what they're doing, that you finally set a routine and that your baby's sleeping through the night.
You've got it like down to a T. You understand your baby perfectly. You know exactly when the baby's going. And it's taken you forever, it seems like, to figure out this routine, but you finally cracked the code.
And then bam! Sleep regression.
What happens?
They forgot everything they learned, basically, and they start waking up again. Like crazy.
So then you have to refigure out everything that you've learned.
Yes, it's pretty much is like you think what you said. You think you know your baby, and then bam, you don't. They're like, surprise, surprise, surprise. You don't know me at all. Neither do I. And they start doing crazy stuff. They start waking up again. Are late to go back, like we were saying, our timeline. The worst, and that is what I have been reading too. I read a lot. You have all these moms I follow, gather, join, stalk all these moms that have kids my age. My age, no, kids, my kids of my baby's age. If baby's my age, we cannot leave because of other reasons. So that is another sleep regression later in life, like senior acne. Sleep regression in menopause. That is another thing. But anyways, it's the 2-year-old. Oh my gosh. Because usually I would say like at 1 year, you start kind of really getting it. They are settling pretty well. They're really good. They're more like a normal person and you can rest a lot more. Their naps are more structured and you have a life. You can play with them. You can go out and more stuff.
You're saying at 2 years old?
At one.
Okay, at one.
One something, yes. Because it hits when they turn 2. That is what happened with Oliver. And it lasted like 3 months. He was sleeping great and then he started waking up. And it is awful because as a mom, some kids are great though, too, whenever they since they were born, not a child. So whenever you finally get to sleep through the night, you think you're in heaven. And whenever they have a sleep regression, you feel like you're dying. It's awful. You are like a zombie all day. You have headaches because you truly forgot about how it was.
Yeah.
So that is the worst. And then the thing is that the first year of their lives, they actually have several sleep regressions. They have it at 2 months old, at 4, at 6.
Yeah, but so I feel like though with Oliver, we got pretty lucky because at what age was it that he started sleeping all the way through the whole night? Remember?
I don't.
I just remember people asking us like, "Oh, okay, what time does Oliver wake up?" And then we were like,
"Let me interject. The one that was sleeping through the night was that Oliver." That is probably like that is when is it that dad starts sleeping through the night? Some that don't have any sleep disruptions. Some others they do have some kind of the baby's waking them up, but some they just like the baby cries. Like these past nights that he has woken up several times, 7 that I have counted, and you're still like next to me.
Well, I mean, that's not, really fair though. Cause so whenever he does come to me on my side and when he wakes me up, I do go and pull him in the bed with us and put him on your side.
So
I'm just kidding.
fun fact.
No, I go and put him in bed and then make sure that he falls asleep and then I come back. No, it's a true story.
Yeah. So fun fact for moms. Babies usually prefer the mom side. So they 99% of the time go to your side of the bed and wake you up. I follow this super funny lady on Instagram and she makes, parodies of her daughter when she goes to her side of the bed and it's like, what? He's like, are you awake? Not anymore. And he's like, can I get into bed? Yes, go to daddy's side. No, shh. They don't wake up dad. They wake up mom every single time. So, yeah, unfortunately, those 7 times he woke me up. And why is he waking up in the middle of the night? Since he is potty trained, then he's waking up to pee. And then he calls me because he wants,
an applause.
Yes, he wants me to join the fun that he is actually peeing in the toilet.
Mama, mira.
Yeah.
He pee.
Yeah, 2 a.m. in the morning, 1 a.m. And then he gets sometimes, I don't know, maybe, I'm not going to say anxiety. Maybe he thinks he's going to pee. So he wakes up and sits in the toilet and then he calls me. And then he wants me to go and put him in bed. But yeah, sleep regression, going back to sleep regression is a huge thing. And it happens so many times. I cannot remember, but sleep regressions can take as short as 1 week for them to go back to their normal sleeping through the night to a month or even 2 months. And I do know about kids that they wake up every single night until they're 3.
Now, whenever you say regression, you say it takes up to 2 months. What do you mean by that? Are you saying for 2 months they're in this random sleeping pattern?
Correct.
Or, okay, so like a 2-month correction. Like they have no,
I have no idea what I'm doing. I forgot everything I learned. I'm waking up 1,000 times during the night like a newborn.
So what I'm trying to say is like during this 2-month period, it's a 2-month period of a new schedule that's already set, or it's a 2-month period of them creating their own schedule. So there's no,
It's a 2 month of
a new schedule.
wildness. Is a 2 month time of them just waking up randomly through the night.
Okay, so it's a very there's no pattern, there's no schedule.
There's no pattern. And remember, I am just talking and sharing according to my experience and what you were saying. I am very structured. I like to search all these sleep routine templates, ideas, samples, you name it. I have seen them all. And I try to, not that you have to go exactly through that, but you kind of adjust it according to your family. And this is so that you don't feel judged. This is how I did it. We all do our stuff according to what works for our family. And that is what I'm going to, if I'm going to advise this to a new mom, I'm going to say, just check what works for you and do that.
Yeah.
This is what works for me.
And your personality type.
With my personality and for our family, you had to wait. You wake up super early.
Yeah, for work.
For work and stuff. So that is what works for our family. I know some other families that their kids, they have other kids and they wake up later in the morning. So they kind of push their schedule later and they go to bed 10, 11.
Right.
That works for them. And that is okay.
Yeah.
That is okay for their family. Another thing that I have read several times is that the sleep that you get before midnight, it's much better than the one that you get after that. So that is why I personally am always pushing for an early bedtime.
Yeah.
To, take advantage of all these advantages, good things. How is it that you say it?
Yeah, I mean, basically just anything that's going to give you the upper hand and make the baby non-cranky.
Not cranky and more nutritious or whatever. Yes. So I've read that it's the best, the most repairing, the neurons, connections of the cells repair. So because I've read that and I believe that, that is why I personally choose to do this. But again, every single family is different. They have their
some families probably couldn't even do that, like depending on their work schedule.
I actually seen this woman on YouTube just sharing her routine with her baby. She puts her baby to sleep, I think at 2 a.m. in the morning. They're awake all the way and they go on a stroller walk at midnight.
Wow.
And because she has, I don't know, some crazy schedule.
Yeah.
So she has kind of switched.
Yeah.
And that is what works for her.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to kill the baby having a schedule like that, as long as they're getting the amount of sleep that they need. And I mean, like, if they're sleeping, they're not going to know.
And this is the thing. Again, that is when I'm going back to all the terms and stuff that I learned. We go through what is the amount of time that a baby should have in a 24-hour period.
Right. Yeah.
So that is what pretty much you're saying.
Yeah.
If the baby's getting that sleep time, that repair time, then it's good. You just adjust it to what worked for you. This is what worked for me. This is what I've read and I believe that is best. So that is what I do. And that is what I advise. Now, when I started, okay, let's go back. Then 1-year-old, I think he had 2 naps.
At 1 years old, he was having 2
I
naps.
think he was
Like
having 2
what? Around
naps.
like 10,
No, at
9,
11,
11? I'll just
around
shut
10
up.
to 12. Yes. And then he will eat. And then again, another nap around 3 to 4:30.
Yeah.
That was the toughest because they want to sleep all the way like 2 hours.
And then you have to wake them up, and
Then
they're
you
they're
have
so
to-
angry whenever you wake them up. Or at least Oliver is. He's like wanting
Yes.
to kill you.
Yes. Yes. That second nap, whenever they're little, it's rough because they really want to sleep long and you cannot let them sleep. Because if you do, then again, the nighttime routine is going to be terrible and you're seriously tired. You just want to put the baby to bed.
Yeah.
So that is rough. So it is really, really nice when they drop that nap because I feel that you can do a lot more. At least with me. I feel that my personality type, I don't do a bunch of stuff if the baby's sleeping. I rather have him. He will wake up with the noise of, a fly flying. So he wouldn't sleep outside. It just happened. I mean, some other babies, they fall asleep when you're jogging in the baby carrier.
Yeah.
That is great, but it didn't happen with him. He was not a very good sleeper still. He's not the best. So that is why.
Sometimes, though, I feel like, though, it's more of a nurture thing instead of the nature. I feel like it can be both, but like you are a maniac when it comes to your sleep in terms of like, you have to have the absolute perfect settings in order to sleep. So you impose that on everyone else thinking that they're the exact same way. And so it has to be completely pitch black. There has to be a noisemaker. Like there can't be anything, like every single door.
Right now with money, because before that it was just a regular fan.
Yeah, a box fan back in the good old days. Yeah.
Yes. And the ones that will make noise. I do not understand this idea of like silent fans. Why would you even buy that?
What a waste of money.
I think that's a waste of money. Please don't, I mean, make them back the way they should.
So you have these strict rules and regulations on how you need to sleep, and then you impose that on Oliver, and then so that's all Oliver knows. And so it's like now it's like, oh, okay, well, he can't sleep without a noisemaker, and he can't sleep unless if it's like pitch black.
And then I go back to you do what works for you. We all have, I'm not a good
Now that's the
sleeper
only
either.
thing that works for Oliver.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. It depends on who you are too. If you sleep, you have a sister that she sleeps through
Yeah.
an earthquake, a revolution.
God bless her soul.
Like, I envy her so much. I just can't.
Yeah.
So since I cannot sleep, I had to create this perfect situation. And that is why I was so crazy, making sure that he would sleep so that he would let me sleep. Now, other moms that have better sleeping qualities, then you can be more relaxed because I do know some others that the baby wake up, you nurse them, and you fall asleep. The mom, I am pretty sure I didn't nurse him. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been able to. So then, waking up. There's just people that they wake up and they fall asleep right away.
Yeah.
That is not my case. I wish, but I'm not. So since that is so terrible for me, I try my best to make it work. So yes, I do think it depends on personality, what works for you as a family schedule wise, and how you are, how you relate as a family. Some other people are more relaxed and they take the baby out. I do think that even moms my type, if they have another child or multiple kids, then you have to relax some because you cannot have 3 kids sleeping with no noise and everything, I mean, things change. Family interaction changes. So then the second child, the third child has to, nap wherever, because then the older kids will have practice, go to school, pick them up. So they will have to nap in the car while they're picking big brother up from school or stuff like that.
So in that aspect, my brother has always told me, "Oh, you need to have a second child because it just makes life easier." In some regard, I can see that, but just because, like, I don't know, it requires you to become more loose and not as structured. So you're like, well, can't really do
It
anything.
doesn't, let me correct you. It doesn't, what was the word that you used?
Well, I said,
It requires to make you that?
I said it requires you to be more loose because exactly what you said about.
It doesn't requires you. It forces you.
Yeah.
It forces you because you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because life keeps running. Oliver's not going to stop running and screaming because there's another child.
Right.
So pretty much life forces you into a different kind of routine and lifestyle.
Yeah, but I wonder if, like, so a personality like me, I feel like I could be like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, that's just life. But then you, I kind of have a sneaky suspicion that it would just bring a little anxiety to you because you're like, I can't control both of these scenarios at the same time.
Correct. Yes. If you are
Do you think that you would have
controlling mom, then yes. I mean, if you cannot control, then you kind of lose it. And you're going to try to figure out a way to
make a solution?
Predict a little bit how to solve that. Like, how is this going to look like? Again, there's some other people that just go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the wind blowing? And let's go that way. My type of personality is more so, I have a fan and I'm going to choose where it blows so that I know it's blowing this way. And so you do have to do that. But I guess just seeing other couples and kids with multiple kids, it's very hard to control it because you cannot control a toddler to shush whenever you're trying to put a newborn to bed, because they're going to come in like, hello, like they cannot whisper.
Yeah.
They don't know what that is. So they just scream. So
except for whenever Oliver is looking for a fly.
So, yes. So
looking for a fly to go around and kill with the fly swatter.
Yes. So they don't know how to do that. And then again, you have other activities to nurture this toddler that needs so many more things to keep, growing and developing. And you cannot just stop to wait for baby brother or sister to nap.
Mm-hmm.
Baby brothers or sisters, you have to, what the situation goes is that the little one has to tag along and adjust. And the truth is that baby number 2, baby number 3
are tougher than baby number 1.
Correct. And the reason too is because there is just one time that you're a first-time mom.
Yeah.
Once you know, then it's way easier to kind of, predict, know, you have experience to treat your second child differently, and you know what were the mistakes you made so that you can correct them and make it better.
Yeah.
If you're a controlling type. If you're like go with the flow, then again, you already know. So you're going to make things easier, I would say.
I think that's a fair assessment. Although, don't know for sure.
I'm very wise.
You are very wise.
I know.
Okay, so now we have gone from 1 year, and now are we going, how many months? How many incremental months are we going down?
No, I think the first year is just so tough. Like I was saying, you can have sleep regressions every 2 months that can just blur one with the other one, or that can be a short of 1 week and then you can have a regular, or you can regular night schedule or a all night sleeper.
Yeah.
If you can call it that way. Or sometimes you have a terrible situation where your baby really wakes up all night, every single day.
I do have to say though, like the first 2 weeks, it's kind of like the honeymoon phase when you first get married. Like the first 2 weeks, you're like on cloud nine, and your blood pressure and adrenaline level is running so high. You're just like, man, this is easy. Like for the first 2 weeks. No, I'm being serious. For the first 2 weeks, you're just like, this really isn't that bad. And then come like the first day of the third week, you're like, wait.
It is tough. So
You don't agree? You don't have like any at all slight agreement or head nod in my direction towards that statement? Like you don't think you're like, oh yeah, because you have no idea what's going on. Like your body hasn't regulated.
This is the thing. In our case, I had a very difficult, I'm going to say, C-section to recover from. So
yeah, that's true.
I was physically not feeling good at all.
That's true.
I do know other women. Again, this is everything. We're just so unique and so different. And people recover some super fast and some other take longer. In my case, it was longer because my surgery was not just a C-section. I had other complications. So I was very sore, very, very, very sore for a long time. I know women that in day 2, they're fine. They're like ready to roll.
Yeah, ready to go on vacation. Yeah.
And they actually do. And they go on a vacation.
Yeah.
So on vacation. So yes. But in my case, that is why I feel that it was rough from the beginning, probably because of that situation. A rough C-section that was very painful and long to recover from.
That's true. I'm sorry for my insensitivity.
We're going to thank you if we forget. So yes, I do think that some people don't, what you're saying, the adrenaline and everything, it's just the new little thing that is so cute and you kind of cannot imagine.
It glosses over everything.
Correct. The smell. I mean, everything is just like, oh my gosh, this little creature that you are so in love with just cannot keep your eyes off them. It's crazy.
And then it hits you like, oh, I'm responsible for keeping this thing alive.
Yes.
Like, I'm so irresponsible.
I know. Yeah, you feel like all this heavy weight on your shoulder because this is a living being that you have to keep alive. And it's huge. But, I mean, everyone is different. Some people really have good babies that sleep through the night since they are babies, like really, really small, and some others don't. Now, there's another situation that can affect sleeping patterns, and that is breastfeeding. There are moms that choose to breastfeed, and I, admire them so much. Very far in the baby's life, if that is how you say it, like up until like 2 years old. And usually those kids wake up to nurse, then waking up mom, because she's the one with the boobies. So
yeah, we know some people who do that. They're like still waking them up. And how old are they?
Yes, there's like 2, 3, and that is the rough part.
Yeah,
you choose that route
for like a little sip. Yeah. Not even for a whole meal, but it's just like a little sip, a little sip of water.
They are, yes, yeah, that is what they do, exactly that. And then they wake the mama up. And they only wake mom because she's the only one with the boobies.
Because they felt like, oh, my lips are dry. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So that is another rough thing. Now, in that case, I think since they have been living that for so long, they kind of get used to it. You don't get that time of, oh, I sleep through the night. Oh, no, this is awful. They don't know anything different. So that is their life until they stop breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And then it's heaven again. And probably they're pregnant and then here we go again. Let's start all over. But I mean, that is a choice. But that is a rough thing that can definitely change sleeping patterns for babies when you're breastfeeding. And that is not a route that I'm going to, talk about, because that was unfortunately not something that I was able to do. So I have no idea how that actually works. I will have to, invite a friend to discuss the top. And I can ask all the questions and be surprised and horrified by their sweet stories about how they breastfeed their babies until they're 3. I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, you have to get a little context. That's because you didn't breastfeed.
Correct.
You couldn't produce the milk.
I did. I was not able to. So, I don't know. So I'm always only sharing what I lived and how we handle night routines and everything with a baby that was taking bottles.
Yeah.
And that is a whole different, more independent, faster situation.
I guess there's bottle regression as well, because Oliver, he stopped doing his nightly bottle. He's not doing his night bottle anymore.
I don't know.
And
I don't know if the regression can be applied to the bottle situation, but yeah.
Well, I forgot about the night bottle, but he's still doing his morning bottle. He will not do his morning bottle if for some reason we have breakfast really early, and if there's like some toy that he really wants to go play with, and he just forgets.
That is a taboo here, I think so. If you live here in the States, you're always advised to stop the bottle whenever they're 1. Now,
really?
This just shows how dads do not go to the pediatricians, and they have no idea.
Well, I'm just so confused that you're breaking the rules right now.
No, this is cultural. So, we don't do that. In my family, we didn't. Kids in Latin America, for the most part, they have their bottles for longer times. So that.
Well, how long? Like, what's the typical time that the baby gives up the bottle?
I'm not sure, but I know kids like 4 years old that they're still drinking milk or stuff from the bottles.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's not on formula anymore. He's drinking that whole milk.
Yeah, that is something too. They go crazy, like you have to change the whole milk and blah.
But you did do that. Well, you've done that forever.
No, I took longer to switch to the whole
whole milk.
Yes.
I thought he was always doing whole milk. What was he doing?
It just shows again little.
What was he doing? Was he doing like 2%?
Formula.
Well, I knew that.
Did you?
He was? Formula?
Yeah. Formula.
Of course I knew that.
Up until he was 1.5 years or so. And then I switched.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, because they're going straight to no bottle. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then every single appointment he still just dropped the bottle.
The pediatrician tells you to drop the bottle every appointment?
Yeah. This is me. This is me. Whatever the finger says. No. I just say no. They know a bunch of stuff and you should follow advice, but then again, read, research, ask, and have your own educated own opinion and way of acting.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be a follower all the time. Dare to ask, dare to be opposite of the trend.
Yeah.
Dare to, say no. Dare to inquire with your doctor and push for what you think is correct and for whatever you are worried about.
Mm-hmm.
sometimes doctors, with all due respect, they just tell you something and it's like, the holy word, whatever. You have to just say yes. And I personally don't agree. I mean, they're practicing medicine and you have the right to ask questions, especially if it's your child. There to, ask as many questions as you need. And if you don't feel confident and you don't feel comfortable, go to another doctor. There are many.
Yeah, and also too, like the medical practices here in the US, it's just like a very, how many patients can I see in an hour? Basically, how many can I bill?
I'm not sure if that is how it is everywhere in the world, but I'm not going to blame that on them. But I mean, the system pretty much.
Yeah, it's not blaming the doctors individually. It's just blaming the system as a whole. And then also, it's like, I feel like a lot of the information and advice that they give you, just speaking in generalities, it's more of a blanket diagnosis or blanket advice. And it's not necessarily like a very specific deep dive into this patient's medical needs.
And this is all, our very personal opinions of the matter. Yeah. So, yes, I dare to disagree with my doctor, and he's still doing his bottle. Every child is different. There are some cases that I do agree that you need to stop the bottle and the passing.
Yeah.
And, work on that. It is usually harder. Everything that you're teaching your child, I feel that it is harder for the parents at this age than it is for the child, because you are the one doing the most effort.
Yeah.
You're doing all the work.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the child does not know either way what is going on. The child is not going to remember, especially like at the young age. They're not going to remember. They're not going to know. They're just there for the ride. They don't care. They're going to obey.
They're very good followers, and then they are actually very good adapting.
Yeah.
So they adapt pretty well to everything. And this applies to what you're saying about the sleeping stuff.
Yeah.
If they are forced to sleep in the car, they'll sleep in the car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If they have to sleep in a stroller, they'll sleep in a stroller. If they're going to sleep with the vacuum, they'll sleep with the vacuum.
What I was going to say was like, just growing up, I was introduced to sugar. I was introduced to candy and Coke and soda pop and whatever, all these different forms of sugar. And so for me in my culture, my natural instinct was to be like, oh, okay, Oliver's 6 months old. Let's give him, a taste of this donut or a taste of this chocolate icing. And then you looking at me like I'm crazy, rightfully so. And you're just like, why are you going to introduce sugar to him at such a young age? Why are you going to start his addiction? Because we're all addicted to sugar at such a young age when he doesn't know any better. He's not going to want sugar if you don't give him sugar. He's going to adapt the way that he is. Like, there's no reason to introduce sugar into his diet. And it just kind of goes along with what you're saying, like, kids adapt and they don't know what they don't know. So if they've never been introduced to sugar, it's not going to hurt them.
Well, there is a saying in Spanish, I don't know what would be the saying in English. It's like, you're not going to miss what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Okay. That's it.
Maybe, but I don't know. Well,
but you do understand.
Yeah, it's probably not the best translation of that, but yeah, you're not going to miss it. Yeah,
what you don't know. So, yes, if they don't know any sugar, and I feel that is a whole thing, another episode, another topic about food, then they're not going to miss it. He doesn't know chocolate ice creams or anything. He's not, what is he going to miss? I do know this family back in my hometown. They are very poor. And I think they had an ice cream when they were invited by a family member, I think when they were like 20. And then the mom that was the one working with my aunt, of course, she was already 40, 50, I don't know. And that was the first time they ever had an ice cream or something. Did they miss that? Nope. I mean, they even didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
And that it tasted good. Because there's two things. Oh, it was good. No. It tastes good. But it's not good for you. It's not, if for a kid that age is they don't know how to brush their teeth properly, you cannot brush their teeth properly either. Because they're so little, they don't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
So then that is just going to create cavities. And that goes back to the tying like stuff, the bottle situation. That is one of the main reasons doctors recommend to drop the bottle, because of the high probability of
Tooth decay.
cavities
Yeah.
in kids.
Yeah.
Because of the milk that is a lot of sugar.
Right.
In the baby, on the baby's teeth. So that is one of the main reasons. Now, being the type of mom that I am,
Brush his teeth after every meal.
And he is 3 and he's been going to the dentist since he was 1 year old, and he flosses and he brushes his teeth 3 times a day. So that is what he knows, and that is what he considers normal.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, this just goes back to every family is different. You do what is best for you.
What's crazy is that
adapts.
you can make a child think anything is normal. You know, like that's so weird to kind of think about. Like you can have these really weird traditions.
And that goes both ways.
Yeah, of course. Like it could be good or bad. Yeah, or bad.
Bad abusive situations where kids grow thinking that is normal because that is all they know.
But it's just,
so it's up to you as a parent, when you want to be a good parent, or the type of parent that in your head you think it's good, to guide them through that way. I believe too that routines are good for what you were saying, like the connections and stuff and how they live life. I feel that helps them to adapt to school, to, lunch, recess, breaks, and all that stuff. Not to wake up early, to all these routines that I think are good, to be a good member of society, to be disciplined, to be all that. So that is one of the reasons too that I personally like to include all these routines in his life, so that he can be a structured, organized boy, young man, young adult, successful adult, happy man. That is what I think I am putting in our child. We're all very different. We are all doing things for different things. Some moms, and if we go back to the topic of the podcast that was sleeping situations with babies, they don't let their babies cry. I know other moms that are like that too. They just...
like the cry out method.
Some moms don't want to do it because their heart breaks. Some others don't want to do it because they don't think that's good. Sometimes, there's so many reasons you don't do it. And then some others do it for the same reasons, because they think it's good, because, I don't know, because that is the easiest way, for so many reasons. We all choose to do or not do the specific same thing for many different reasons. And sometimes they are all valid, as crazy as it may sound.
Yeah.
Even though you're doing completely different things for many different reasons, At the end of the day, most of those reasons, if not all, are absolutely valid. And so that is okay. And it is, and you're still, if you're a mom, you're still a good mom. You're still doing your best, and your child's still alive, and that's good. That is the idea. Congratulations. We did it.
But in all seriousness, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. As long as your baby is happy and healthy and alive
And thriving. And alive.
thriving. That's really all that matters. Because I mean, like some parents just can't handle it as well as others. And so as long as your baby is thriving, happy, and healthy, then
And alive.
then I mean, what more can you ask for?
And then again, do not focus. This is the little bit of my judgmental part. Do not focus just on, oh, the baby's alive. That's not it.
That's the best part.
That is the basic part of it. But, I mean, you can keep alive a spider in your house, a fly, and doesn't make you, the insect guru or something. It's just that they happen to be alive. You need to nurture this kid, teach them stuff, guide them, model to them, so many things. So, yeah.
It's really complicated and hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Bear with us. We don't know what we're doing.
A lot goes into it, a lot more than, I mean, well, no, I knew of all the steps that it was going to take to raise up a child into, someone who's what did you say? A positive member of society, someone who's full of godly wisdom and just someone who's a positive contributing member to society. Like in my mind, I knew all these steps basically from, 3 years old all the way up until they were 18, just to get them out of the house or whatever for them to become an adult. But then if you start breaking down each of these steps, I never really stopped to think like each sub-step or each subcategory of all these different steps. And so it can be kind of overwhelming.
And what you're saying is right. Whenever you have a child, you don't know that there are so many subcategories of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, okay, they're going to sleep. Yes, at the beginning, they don't sleep that much, but you really cannot comprehend what that means and the 1,000 subcategories that can be. Like what we were saying. Oh, wake up windows, another category. Sleep regression, the whole, that is like a whole room. The nighttime, I have no idea. So many things that can happen. Oh, another thing that we didn't mention that can affect babies' sleep or kids at any age. Well, not any age. Kids, if they get sick, if they're teething.
Yeah.
If they're growing.
Yeah. But going back to the sub-steps, like, for example, with their activity, this is something I've always thought about. Like, okay, yeah, I want to be very involved in their activity level. And what does that mean? Typically for a guy, that probably means like, okay, yeah, put him in sports. Okay, good, check that box off. But when it actually comes to it, okay, if you think about it, which sport? So right now he's playing soccer, aka football.
No.
Okay.
Football.
And so it's like, okay, but then what about t-ball? And then what about basketball or football or jiu-jitsu? That's something that we're really considering of putting him in. And so it's like, that's just one thing, for example. It's just like, okay, there's this one category, but then you have all these subcategories.
And one of the subcategories of the sports part is very
expensive.
Good, besides that, a good testimony or like, I don't know, story that I was told by a recent friend about her child. And this is just like me sharing my wisdom about that category specifically. how you're saying, okay, so many sports, which sport? Because that was your specific question.
Yeah.
And then most likely we are going to choose
something we're familiar with and what we feel comfortable with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. We're going to choose that, what we know. And then we're going to expect our child to thrive and like it.
Yeah.
Or be good at it.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that is not the case. This friend that I was telling you about was telling me that she registered or enrolled her child in football, what you guys would call soccer, and Americans. And then she was telling me, and I thought it was so funny. She would just say like, oh yes, I was so happy. And then I was just looking at him and he was not good. I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, he was terrible. And for a mom, it's like, you have to look at your child and accept that that is not the child's talent.
Yeah.
That child sucks. And then rethink maybe your expectations and check your kids' talents, expectations, and interests.
I was about to say, you need to compare that and put it up against like your child's interest, even if they're absolutely horrible at whatever it is that they're doing. But if they absolutely love it, keep them in.
Yes. So that is 3 categories. But now this child liked it, yeah, but sucked so bad that she took the child out of that sport and then kind of assess what she thought, like, in a more analytic way.
Practical, yeah.
Yes. What is it that I think he's good at? Oh, gymnastics. And then enrolled the child in this other sport, and guess what?
He became a gold medalist in the Olympics.
Not yet. He's still very little. Like I said, all my friends have kids, not my age, but my child's age. So
a gold medalist in 5U.
They're still little. So then she discovered that this son of hers is very good at something she was not expecting. So yeah, you do have to. There's so many categories in like that.
That's one of the reasons why I want to put him in jiu-jitsu, is because I don't know anything about it. And I want him to discover something beyond familiarity of myself or you. And so he's kind of like treading new waters. And this is something that he's discovering for himself.
Well, as a mother.
And for various other reasons that I really wanted to do it. But yeah, that's like one reason why.
As a mother, I do agree that we should enroll him. Now, going into this area of the sports activities, that you can put your kids in. As I remember my experience, like my feelings and thoughts as a child regarding activities or classes that I wanted to take. And I'm not going to say regret, because it was not my say to be enrolled in that. Like, it was more my mom's choice or her initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, I was little. Then I do believe that you should try to show your child options so that they can choose. And like you're saying, like, get out of their comfort zone, know something different, discover, because that is good. I remember wanting to do things that I was never put in any class for. And then later in life, then I will use the word regret, regretting not ever being able in that class. Maybe I didn't say it, but who knows? But I think that when they're that little, is all about the parents' initiative.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to, then if you already know what they like, then do that and then explore some other stuff.
Well, this is like a whole huge, long conversation in itself, but just being intentional with your children. We were talking about this the other day, is like, there's so many people who are embarrassed of their children and they're just really annoyed by their children and they just don't really like to be around them because for XYZ. But it's like,
Well, I would like to put a pin on it because I believe that that is a good topic
yeah,
to discuss because just a little, how do you say that? Teaser
yeah.
on that topic. What you're saying, some people don't like their kids.
Well, just to kind of prelude into it, like you can choose to be intentional with your children to raise them to be the type of child you want to be around. You know, you think they're annoying because of whatever reason. Well, teach them not to be that way and teach them to live their life in a way or to grow up to be pleasant to be around.
And I think since this is the teaser, and if you're listening, watching, or something, before we even get into that conversation, I would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts about it? Because as I was listening to you and thinking about our situation with our little one, there are so many things that we don't know. And I can kind of, in the back of my head, hear all these experience and seasoned mamas laughing at like when a new mom says, no, I'm not going to let my child do that. And then you're like, sure, you're not. So you already know you will, because that is how we are.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion? That is our goal. What do you think should be the things that one should do to raise that child with those characteristics? What are the pleasant characteristics that one is looking for in a person that you want to, nurture in your child?
Well, that's true too, because so there's no one that loves their children like a mother, right? And if a mother is annoyed by her children, imagine all the other grown-ups, how annoyed they are at that child. So
the other thing is that I'm going to interrupt you is because
no problem.
Kids, okay. Kids, when they're little, sometimes it's just part of their personality and their not self-awareness or right assessment.
I'm not necessarily talking about like 3, 4, 5-year-olds, but I'm talking about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And then again, we're not there yet. What do you think are those things? Because we're talking from, an ideal. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do it perfect, but we're not there yet. And most likely we're going to mess it up here and there. Hopefully not that much, but
yeah, but also
how parents are. But for those mamas, for those parents, for those caregivers that are seasoned, that already know, that have their kids and that are very proud of what they raised, what did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do? So that then we can discuss, judge, adapt, internalize what you did, and maybe just, have our own opinions of the way you raise your child.
I do feel like we're on the right track, though, because we are actually actively having these discussions.
And again, I am going to repeat this probably a lot of times. I read somewhere, and I'm going to probably find that quote so that I can read it as it is. It said something like, it is hard to be a parent whenever you're wanting to be a good one.
Mm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because whenever you're not trying,
it's so
again,
easy.
it's just keeping them alive.
Yeah.
And that's not it. That's not it. Truly. I do not think that's it. So that's the teaser. That's the question. Just let us know so that we can have another episode. So going back to the sleep regression and sleep stuff, and we can wrap it up.
Okay.
What were we saying? Like they were little. Let's go back to then when they're like in that 1 year We said sleep regressions, 3 naps, 2 naps, 2 hours, getting cranky. Let's go back to those first maybe 4 months, like when they're really little and they're so cute.
Well, remember, I made this comment and you started making fun of me. I was talking about how Oliver was sleeping all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, not the baby, but the
Maybe.
hubby.
Yes, I guess I'm trying to remember. And yes, he actually.
It's like month
remember.
3 that he started sleeping 8 hours through the
I
night.
remember now. And this is it. I'm going to start with a sweet "You're welcome." And it was because at 3 months old, I started the cutting his naps to 2 hours. And that is where I noticed that his sleep patterns kind of became regular, predictable, and normal to our, night and day shift sleeping patterns.
Mm.
I believe that was it. And to give you a little bit of, not context, but an advice. One of the books that I read on the matter, and we're going to put the link below, was from these nurses, because I forgot the name. We're probably gonna, I don't know, just put it down there. And it was a book regarding babies and their sleep patterns. And it was of these two NICU nurses, and they were giving their advice from all the years that they work with babies and how they train their babies to sleep. I read that book and I started following some of the advice, because the main advice, they do the cry out method, and that was not something that I personally was very
Stimulated about.
No, I didn't want to do that. Like, even right now when he cries, my heart kind of aches and I just can't. So I didn't want to do that with my baby. But the one thing that I read that I thought I could apply, and that is what I said, from all these sleep templates or ideas of sleep patterns or schedules or wake up windows, choose whatever adapts to you and you think you can do. From all the advice I read in the book that I thought I could apply with our 3-month-old was the nap time, cutting the nap time, like starting paying attention to how long he was napping. And I started waking him up at the 2-hour mark. That was the one thing that I did, because they are very strict into what time you go to bed, what time you go, even more than me. If you think I'm strict, read the book. That I don't remember the name. Perfect. They're very strict. You go to bed at the same time. It doesn't matter. And you wake up at the same time. It doesn't matter what day of the week. Every single day. Sick, not sick, sleep deprived, whatever, you wake up and go to bed at the same time. And then the nap time, 2-hour left. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do the going to bed at the same time. I don't know if we can wake up at the same time, because I wanted to sleep a little bit longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Then I said, I'll do the nap. And I started doing that, and that kind of changed. And that is what you remembered.
Thank you.
You're welcome again. So yeah, that was a game changer, and it did made a huge difference, because you remember, and it was very pleasant. It was good. It was good, like having that a little bit longer nights, because at the beginning, truly, they're so cute. You watch the videos and their little cries, they're so adorable. But when they have that adorable cry at 1 a.m., and then again at 2, and then again at 4, trust me, it's not that adorable. You just, shushiness. It's just that whenever you look at them and they smell so cute, so delicious, then you kind of forgive them. But it's not that nice. It's awful. Right?
I wouldn't know. I was asleep.
No, you were actually not, because you did help a lot. That was our first 3 months with the struggle with trying to breastfeed.
Can you
So-
say that again?
No. You were actually giving the bottle while I was trying to pump and then, rocking him to sleep. You're not supposed to, but we did. Yeah. That is part of the book advice. Do not rock the baby. And I was reading that while I was like, don't do this. What did you call this?
Patting, burping.
Don't pat the baby. When I was patting and rocking the baby. Yep. Beautiful. I think most of the moms do that. And I mean, you just do whatever you have to do to put the baby to bed. That is mad. But I think we have like 4 different mattresses.
Yeah.
Because we're like, these mattresses, he doesn't like that. We are going to buy another mattress. Maybe he likes this one. He doesn't either. We're going to get another one. And here we are. Wasn't that the case?
Yeah, we have a few.
So yes, I mean, that is part of the sleep thing too. They start in their little
Bassinet.
and then you put them closer, and then you put them in their crib, and then you put them in the pack and play, and then, all these things. And then you go through the big boy bed, and you choose your style. You do the Montessori, you do on the floor, you do.
Are you talking about the big boy bed that he has now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, another subcategory on the sleeping thing. The 1,000, mattresses they can sleep on, depending on their age, starting from the bassinet to the crib or whatever.
Now he sleeps on your pregnancy pillow,
Yes.
which he loves.
He loves it. So yes, I didn't sell it, give it away or anything. I just put it in his bed and he loves it. So yeah, that is pretty much a timeline backwards of what happened with our baby and the wisdom that we got from 3 years of sleep deprivation. And everything that comes with it. And I do say that it will get better now that he is 3, and that I compare the pictures of his newborn years to now and kind of see the huge difference, how much he has grown. Time really flies. Like, it is super difficult. It is very stressful. It is tiring, but truly, it truly is like blinking your eyes, and then suddenly he's 3. He's potty trained. He's sleeping in his own bedroom. He's more independent. And then he doesn't need you that much. And then you feel that he is sleeping.
Yeah, the timeline jump is crazy because it seems so fast. I mean, of course, it's just such a huge cliche, like it's going to go faster than you think and time just flies. It really does. I mean, even in just this little bit, like, I mean, it's really hard to wrap your mind around it.
It really is.
It's kind of sad because, like, I mean, I feel like now thinking about it, we are fortunate enough to know what it's going to be like in the future, because I know that as you get older, time speeds up, like it really does. And I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I'm in my 40s.
Okay. So thank you for watching. I'm gonna wrap this up right now. Just saying that thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will put the link on that book that I was mentioning that really helped me, and any other important resource that we we're able to put our hands on so that we can share our wisdom. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you, dear Javi, for joining this podcast. I do have to say bye. Things are getting a little out of control. Subscribe, follow, comment, and thank you again for being here with me, with us. Bye.